October 30th, 2025. I have with me a gentleman from England, actually from London. His name is Phil Langdon. And what we're about to talk about is a particular book that Phil told me about. In fact, Phil told me about this book many years ago. I wrote down the date I bought it, which was 2020. I bought this book 2020. I at that time didn't know much about Phil at that point, and he said I recommend this particular book. It's with about Kabbalah. I did read it when my eyesight was a lot better than it is today. But what I was trying to say simply is that Phil means a lot to me, and how he's shared his wisdom and his knowledge. And so I'll let Phil introduce himself and explain why he is here and his purpose here of his life.
Hi, my name's Phil. I'm from London. I had spiritual ascension in 2014 in December, which is nearly 11 years ago now, and I've had all that time to assimilate the principles involved, realizing it's a major issue for people. This it really is, but it's not touted in maybe the correct sort of way. It's usually done in a roundabout way because the people touting it haven't done it themselves, and that's an issue because you need to know about it properly. You need to have done it to know about it, to tell other people about it, which is the biggest issue. So I thought it'd be useful to talk about it online. And I've spoken to various people over the years, and Brant is someone I talk to at the moment.
Yeah, I pay you on the side, don't I?
You are?
I said I pay you on the side. That's a joke. I pay you to come here. I don't do that.
Oh, no.
How much is it now? Is it up to $200 per session? No, I'm just kidding. So I've gone, like I said, I was telling you, the audience here, that I've gone through the book long ago, and I went swiftly through it. It has a lot of what I call pictures here, the menorah, also of the chariot here, which is also referred to in the Bible. So recollect, there are also these type of symbols here, which I don't have any clue what these mean, but Phil may know what they are.
That's called angel writing. It looks like the writing of the Malachi, which is angel writing, which is effectively a type of Hebrew.
Oh.
It's very similar to Hebrew.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's called angel writing.
Angel writing, yeah.
So is this somewhat, I would recall the symbol here looks like, if I can show you where my finger is that somewhat like Kabbalah? It looks like the shape of that. Like
what are you referring to, Brent?
This one right here. Can you see it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a symbolic way of encoding information. I mean, I can't read it just like that. I'd have to look it up.
No, it was like, to me, I was thinking it's like a symbol, that particular one, the last one, besides the Jewish star. I was thinking maybe that has something to do referring to the Kabbalah as being, I guess.
No, it's not the tree of life.
Oh, okay. That was what I was thinking. It might be the tree of life.
No, it's not the tree of life. It's a symbol for something or other.
Okay. All right. Well, you say it's angel writing, so you should be able to understand it, right?
No. We don't. It's old. It's very old.
I'm picking on you. I just had to say.
Yeah.
So, I did want to ask you one other question here, which I think I know, but I'm not absolutely sure. Again, another symbol. There are actually two on this page, which is the Jewish garment that they have here with the 12 stars.
12 jewels.
Jewels, I should say.
Yeah.
Is that referring to mainly somewhat to do with astrology, although it's also referring to, I lost my thought. Wow. Okay. So does it refer along to,
You see where it is? You see
Pardon me.
where it is?
It's at the breast.
Yeah, it's over here. It's over the what they refer to in mystery tradition as the lower mind. Okay,
Oh,
so the 12 jewels are like the 12 aspects of your brain, the 12
right,
noetic forces. With the introduction of the Son of God, your whole
right.
brain becomes like a diamond. So all the 12 aspects are now jewels. And because you've elevated, you've overpowered your lower mind. So your ascension, your anointing has become what you are about. So the breastplate is over the heart. You
Okay,
are about where your heart is at is what defines you.
okay,
I mean,
okay,
so that person there dressed like that is effectively saying they are an angel by wearing that breastplate, or they carry the angelic tradition.
okay, okay. I've got another question about our voices. I'm showing on my voice that I'm much higher than yours. Is your voice, you want to turn, can you hear me
Oh,
okay?
really? Okay, hang on a sec.
Because
There's
I just
a
noticed
thing.
that your voice is much softer than mine. Now you just turned yourself
Right,
off.
I'm back on again. Can you
So I
hear
don't,
me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to put the mic
That, you
there.
just
Is
went
it?
up. Yeah, you went up. Yes, definitely went up.
Ah, okay. So it's distance from the mic.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
different
Well,
on mine.
I'll leave it here. I'll leave it here. So,
So say something
okay.
again.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. Testing.
Yes, better than it was because it was a lot less. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
So I
All
want
right.
your voice tends to be a little lower than mine anyway. So, but
Okay.
you were explaining again that this is again to do with the heart.
Yeah. The breastplate is over the heart. Yeah. And it's the 12 jewels of the noetic forces of the brain that have become jewels in the presence of the anointing that you receive when you ascend and become an angel. So your head becomes like a comparative to a diamond,
Okay.
like a jewel, a perfectly polished and cut jewel, and everything about it is perfected, just like your life. In life, you perfect yourself. You learn better and better, and you become a better and better person. So you're turning into a diamond, as it were, effectively. See, so the idea of a jewel is embedded in that metaphor, and they put it over their heart because the heart is the lower mind when you're a human, and not angelic yet. But when you become an angel, your heart defines you. So your air element, which refers to your head, your intellect, your understanding, and your wisdom, is now embedded over the lower mind, or has taken over from the lower mind, and now your higher mind is on the throne of your being.
Okay.
See,
So why did they use the word Kabbalah? Do you know?
Kabbalah means receiving.
Okay.
It means receive. It can be translated as tradition, but the tradition is of receiving, and the receiving is receiving of gnosis or wisdom. So Kabbalah means receiving wisdom, effectively. So it's a reference to the issue of becoming an angel. So everything written down as Kabbalah is effectively angel material.
Okay. Okay. Again, I don't know, with your voice simply is still somewhat lower.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's because of the adjustment between you and the mic there. We had a problem with this. Is a different company I'm using compared to what I've been using because they raised the prices again. So,
Right.
um,
I noticed it was different. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out because,
I'm quite loud on my end here. I'm nearly in the red when I talk.
okay, so on my end, say something again.
I'm nearly in the red when I talk
Yeah,
here on
you
my
are.
phone.
Yeah, you are at the one third level. Like three thirds would be full, and you're at the one third level with your voice.
Oh, really? Okay. I'll
It's
try and
very,
raise my.
very low compared to mine.
Right. Oh dear. Okay. Hope it comes out all right then.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you see? See if there's a speaker voice here. No, it doesn't do that. I was thinking, um, like I said, this is a much cheaper company than what I've been doing. This is like $28 a month. The
Yeah.
one I was doing was over $45 a month, and I just got tired of the same service, whatever. But I don't want to go all the tangents here. I just want to make sure people could hear you. Now you're off now. Now you're back on, I assume. Okay, uh, so why Kabbalah? Why study Kabbalah? And there's so many books out there that are deal with the area of Kabbalah. Um, and how do you, as you know, as you've been angel, um, how do you differential from all these others? I mean, you know that some are not telling the truth, but not almost all of them are not telling the truth, or they have some aspects of telling the truth, but not the whole truth. And you said this was by far, maybe this book's still not the most perfect book, but I don't know. I'm just basing it upon what you know. So I don't know if I'm asking a good question or not, but why this particular guy chose him instead of others?
Well, Kabbalah is direct angel writing, so it's the kind of stuff you can get your teeth into. It's equivalent to reading any kind of religious scripture. However, Kabbalah explains itself, whereas the scripture assumes that you know what it's doing in the first place.
Oh,
See, so a scripture is a building. It's like a building that you have to read. You need to get to the foundations of the building, but most people just look at the front of the building and judge it accordingly, which is the superficial interpretation that you normally get. A Kabbalist will be able to read the scriptures and see the foundations, because the training of Kabbalah is in the subject known as metaphysics. And metaphysics is the nature of spirit, which is what you get to know as an angel, and therefore you can explain it and write it down in a formal sense. So Kabbalah is a formality. It's a formal recording of angel knowledge, and that knowledge is viewed from the top of God's mountain. So everything is visible at once. Therefore, the whole cycle of creation is visible to an angel. In other words, when they look at a house and see the foundation, if you apply that to the universe, an angel will see and know about the foundations of the universe.
okay.
As a result, as a sort of transposed or mapping of the idea of a metaphor there. You're looking at a house, most people only see the front. Yeah, an angel will know the foundations, so as if they've already built one, so they know how they're built, they know how they're made, they know how it works. That's the issue of an angel, and that's what you get with Kabbalah. It's like eating rich steak instead of having a kind of cheap hamburger. You know, it's a bit
Right.
like that. It's very rich.
Right.
It's very dense. Very, very
Right.
dense, because you're dealing with the crux of existence all the time with Kabbalah, and their major recognition, having this view from the top of the mountain and being able to see this cycle in its totality, means they can map the cycle in very simple terms, and that mapping is called the Tree of Life, which is nothing more really at the basic level than a delineation of the philosophy in the East known as Taoism, which is the yin-yang concept,
Right.
in that everything has its opposite. Anything manifest, anything there is, has an opposite. So if we look at the overall picture, we have the opposites of spirit, which is the observer, who is non-physical, and physical nature itself that is used for observation and learning. So what you have is mind all the time as an eternal being, but the question is, how do you use your mind? Well, a physical life is considered to be the training ground for you as an aspect of the divine, let's say. Excuse me. I've still got a bit of a cough. Hang on. I'll just take a swig.
Okay, no problem.
So that's effectively what it is. I mean, the tree of life is a very simple expression of a cycle that uses the concept of the baseline of yin yang applied to spirit and energy. So spirit is singular in nature and takes up what's called the monad, which is a single point at the top of the tree.
Right.
Immediately below that are 2 points leveled next to each other, saying they are equal to each other.
Correct.
And the idea is that they show a separation or a distinction, like a primary distinction. Excuse me.
Sure.
And from their relationship, you have their unification, which is what you see going down the tree. So 1 and 2 are the first 2 levels, then you have their unification in a basic relationship in the 3 points that are joined together below that, and then you have 4 points below that with a new point in the center of the 3 that have already been established. So excuse me, there's a product of this relationship, and the product of the relationship generates the initial spark of the system, as it were. It's like a seed making a tree that makes a seed again. So it's a cycle from the discreteness of a seed through continuity back to its own discreteness again. So this is one way of looking at it, discreteness and continuity. So that's a very basic sort of way of looking at it, like the observer and the observed. The observer is a discrete continuity. Because they exist forever, they have continuity, and yet in the world we are a discrete point. We are a place of consciousness, a point of awareness, as it were. You have your unique point of view. See, that's the nature of zero dimension. We are zero dimensional. And zero dimensional is the nature of spirit. So we are spirit, using physical nature to understand our own fullness, because it's part of our own fullness. Yeah, I don't know whether that's clear or simple enough for people to hear.
I wanted to listen to you mainly. That's why I kept my mouth shut, because
That's right.
a little bit different than, well, I mean, you expressed other things in the past, but it's always, I guess, when we go back to yin and yang, you know, your masculine and feminine type of thing, and they're separate entities. And eventually what you want to do is bring those, when you go back up the tree, so to speak, you want to bring those together and become one, you know.
The root, yeah,
Right.
and it's automatically their root, because it's the place where they both exist at once.
Okay. When you say root, I'm talking about the top. Is that what you mean by root, or you mean the bottom?
Well, it's both,
Okay.
funnily enough. So when you get to the top, the point at the top, that becomes the root in the opposite sense.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
because you're making something that's unifying spirit with energy. So it has both qualities. And at the root of everything objective, it's only the physical quality that is expressed that contains the spiritual quality, which is us in the body.
Okay.
So in an opposite sense, if you expand out the spiritual quality of a person and shrink the physical quality, which is the opposite to what we experience in life,
Right.
you have a never-ending abyss, which is emptiness or no-thingness, which is your true nature.
Right.
And you have a cloud or an object that has a very specific shape and form and size relative to your position wherever, you know, in this abyss. That's the spiritual condition, the opposite extreme to physical life, where the entire universe is basically just a cloud. So the cloud accounts for the entire universe, but you don't need the universe, because it's just an expression that keeps changing. The cloud is forever true, it's forever the way it is, it never changes. And it's a question of generating this cloud in your own infinity, let's say, because we are infinite as eternal beings. And infinity has no defined natural objective center. So we have to subjectively create a center for our own infinity. That's what we're doing with life. That's really the point of it. And you'll find that throughout Kabbalah. They're confirming that the point is to make the crown, which is the subjectively defined center of your own pure subjectivity. In so doing, it is the most objective aspect of all existence. In a sense, this is why it's referred to as God sometimes in the Old Testament. God said this, God created this problem here, God drove these people away and what have you. But it's a reference to the creative principle aspect of the cloud, because it's the Alpha and Omega. It generates everything objective, but it is the subjective crown of an individual in its objective creation, because it's looking to redeem itself. There's another issue there. The physical nature is considered to be lower than spiritual nature. So if you have physical nature, it needs to be redeemed and spiritualized to be made perfect. And the distinction at our level there, really, one of the major distinctions, is that the spiritual nature is purely honest and truthful, whereas physical nature is associated with deceit.
Right.
You see, deceit, you can apply deceit to evil. Evil is deceitful, it's lying, it doesn't want you to know the truth, it's hiding. If it's hiding, it has something against you and there is an agenda. Right. Truth has no agenda, it just is. See, there's this great distinction between the two. So this is what Kabbalah is relaying to you. It's the distinction between these two natures in their own zones, but they unify. And when they unify, you have both at once. So there's a consequence to that, a natural, automatic, objective consequence, which is the universe. That's a response to your personal ascension. So we have everything to do with the universe. We are part of it, it's part of us, it's part of the process. It's not just some grand, weird thing out there that has nothing to do with us because it's far away. You know?
Right. It's possible. I'm trying to think of the Old Testament, the character of what we call Job. I remember that in somewhat to do with Bible classes long ago at church. And he was tested, and his wife and others said, curse God, just be on with it and just die. In other words, a very futile perspective in that way, since he was had all kinds of, I think, if I recall correctly, had physical ailments, that type of thing, or whatever it be. And as far as I remember, I think this book talks about Job a little bit, or either I got it from somewhere. I kind of want to talk about, I've got all kinds of things I want to ask because there's just so many, especially, but the idea of Job is that he is, but this was never explained to us in church, by what he did, he became an angel, or was an angel. Is that correct?
I think so, but I think you see the story of Job in my mind when I read it is an education, a book of education between the distinctions of physical thinking and angelic thinking. So all these so-called tests that are put toward Job, Satan is sent to Job to tempt him and all sorts of things. Right, who is going to pass that kind of test? Well, in a way, it kind of shows you how most people into religion would fail most challenges.
Correct.
In those terms. An angel would never fail. You see, they'll carry on. In a way, you could say, I was tested a few years ago, but I didn't lose my faith. But you see, that there's no question of losing any faith once you're anointed. There is no question left.
Right. You don't
So
lose.
whatever happens, it makes no difference whatsoever. So I think that text about Job is mostly about educating the reader into the distinction of thinking physically and thinking angelically. And the angelic thinking does exist. You can do that. You can get there yourself and be like that and be totally robust.
Yes.
The same with it. It's the same idea as just being very mature. When you're very mature, you don't do the childish things anymore, and you don't succumb to foolishness so easily, let's say.
Right.
It's that idea. So it's really about wisdom and about gaining wisdom and looking at the higher perspective. Lots of things in physical life are temporary. Physical life itself is temporary. So if you look beyond that, you'll start wondering, what the point is and what there is that's greater than that. So all these things lead you to the ultimate understanding of, that God is within you and that you become your highest self in this process. So God the one becomes God the many. Angels are effectively an aspect of God, or they call it a power of God, which is effectively like saying, well, there's an aspect of God right there. The person has become one with God, therefore they're a reflection of the God-like nature that is in everybody.
Yeah. I would say is when we incarnate here many many times, and God doesn't have an agenda. That is, He's not. You got to get it right this first time, or else you fail. Um, it's, there's grace and mercy from God all the time. It's not pulling back and say, okay, you blew it here. No more chances.
No, it's not like that.
It's not. It doesn't work that way. Um,
No,
so
you take as long as you take.
right, right, right. Um, but it's not, like I said, it's not agenda. Like, okay, we're working on the 45th time here, and okay, kiddo, it's, either you get it this time, or else you fail, and you don't have any chance, such and such. That's not the way God is. But that's the way life is here on this planet, because it's based upon temporary perspective. Well, if you don't get this, like say you want to play on a football team. I'm talking about American football. I'm not talking soccer. We practice all the time, and if you don't get it, you go and sit over the bench, and we'll pull somebody else and let them play such and such. And I know that this year I've observed that basically the NFL, the National Football League, is now being played in London. I think just about every week which is really weird. They used to go there just one time, I think it was, in Wimbledon Stadium in London. What I understand is Wimbledon, and guess what? They're going there much more times. But I just thought, okay, anyway? The point simply is gotten off the tangent here. But what I was trying to say simply is, is the idea of the role of a quarterback. If he doesn't get it, such and such, he goes to the bench, or a running back, or a whatever position player, even in soccer, you're relegated, such and such. And I know that's a poor analogy, but the point simply is God is long suffering with people. Okay, God's not going to zap you, which is what we're told what happened to us. You see.
That's right.
See,
yeah, there's no need. There's no need. God has nothing to prove, so there's no need for all that. It's about you developing yourself. So the only person to blame, in a way, is yourself, or
it's yourself.
The only person to rely on, in a way, is yourself.
Right.
Because you're the one climbing your own mountain.
Right.
That's just a metaphor. You're not literally climbing a mountain with all the
No.
It can get a bit tough, but it's just a metaphor. You're getting to the truth. You're getting to a point where you understand the fullness of your own existence, effectively. What are you? Well, you're zero-dimensional. Hence the metaphysical teaching to fill you in on that, because you wouldn't come up with it yourself. Unless you've been alive for 80 years and you've been philosophizing all that time, you might come upon it. A bit like Henry Descartes, or whatever philosopher, but The mystical philosophers are the ones who seem to get it right.
Right.
And there is a tradition. It is known. I haven't come up with anything new. All I'm doing is reiterating what's already been discovered and written down as this subject known as Kabbalah. I'm literally confirming Kabbalah. And I talk about the tree of life mostly because I don't see many people explaining where it comes from in the first place, that it comes from the yin-yang concept. It's a relationship between two opposite extremes that unify. That represents the tree of life, and that's the philosophy, the mystical philosophy right there, that you come into relationship with your highest self and produce a divine child in the process. So there, and we can use that pattern to follow the expansion of the universe and its contents and what it is doing. So it's a very simple way of accessing this information and this knowledge. Just because science won't acknowledge it, it's because they plod. They have to plod through things, science. They won't step back and try and look from the top of the mountain first. They do that when they practice theory. If you're in a room, like a workshop, and you're a bunch of PhDs and you're looking at a problem and you're trying to solve it, you're going to play around with it and do all sorts of things. But what comes out of you in public is your results only, not your methodology. So they might have tried to stand on top of the mountain and have a bird's eye view, but they're not going to present that because it's not robust in their terms, in this plodding sense that science has to follow. So it's a very physical orientation, science, but metaphysics is looking at it from the opposite point of view, saying we already know where this comes from.
Right.
You don't need to question
where does the universe that at all.
Where does the universe come from? Well, every time someone tries to explain the universe with a grand unified theory, consciousness has no place in that theory, which is completely wrong. It's like looking at half of a yin-yang symbol only. There are two aspects of the yin-yang symbol, and there's always one little piece of the opposite in each one.
Right.
Likewise, in your physical body, you are a tiny issue. Physically, only physically in terms of size. Spirit has no size. It has no shape or form. It has these automatic qualities that you can figure out. Even if you don't, you won't experience them directly, you can certainly figure them out intellectually. And Kabbalah delineates all these things for you so that you can learn about it through others and acclimatize yourself to that kind of thinking so that when you hit angel nature, it's not a massive shock, to suddenly see through everything, because it can be quite, it could be quite off-putting. There's an initial sort of acclimatizing to becoming an angel that is a bit shocking. You get over it, you're okay, you're always in a night, you always feel good in yourself, there's no problem. But it can, if you describe, the process of coming to terms with what you find about reality and about the nature of things and how people make excuses and pretend that they are better than they really are. When you see through that, it can be a bit of a shock because you realize that these ancient descriptions of humans have compared them to fallen angels or devils or demons because of the way they behave and the way they think.
Right.
That can be quite a shock, to realize that there are very few people that you can talk to and trust, genuinely trust, when you're talking about these subjects, because most people don't understand it. They don't know what metaphysics is. Most religious people have never even heard the word metaphysics.
No, they haven't.
Which is bizarre because it's the core of the content of their so-called religion.
Right.
So it's not taught properly, basically. It's not. Again, it's looking at the facade of a house. You may as well put a cardboard cutout up for someone like that, because they don't look at the content behind it anyway.
They're not interested in the content. They're interested in the facade.
Yes, it has to look nice. Yeah, the facade must look nice, and then they're happy.
Right. Just think about the temple the three courtyards, I think it is, maybe you correct me, two courtyards or whatever. Uh, they look at that, that's really nice, but they don't see the symbolic issue what's going on here.
Yeah.
They completely go right over it. And, God's not going to give diamonds to a pig, so to speak, because a pig is not going to recognize how valuable that is. I know it's a poor analogy, but the point simply is that because that, as a human being, is that they're still in a pig pen, so to speak, of life. They are concerned about, is a lot of people are, about putting food on the table, having a nice house, having all these things, so to speak, as though which is nothing but an image of who you want to try to be, when it's a false image in a way, because simply as you are. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying simply it is used as a tool to keep people from even asking, what is the purpose of my life here, and why am I here? Why are so many people involved in that? In fact, when you talk to people, when they say they're happy, is when they have all this quote unquote stuff, but it's superficial. It doesn't solve anything, such and such.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, just to add to your point there, I was going to say, interject that it's a bit like the idea of giving a Shakespearean play to a monkey. You don't do that because it's pointless. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, yeah.
So I wanted to ask you some questions here, which I know the menorah here is basically is actually, it has a lower picture at the particular page here is 36. It's 36. No, it's 16. With the 7 candles, and it's kind of interesting. I thought, and I don't know if the audience can see this. Let's see if I can get it right there. So it's the same thing as Kabbalah here, and what I'm saying simply is it's just another symbol that's used to reveal truth. You see.
Yeah, the natural seven points of the cycle. Yeah, it naturally has 7 issues. That's right. If you look at it, yeah.
So I'm just thinking myself here. There's other things I've got. This book is got. You could. This is a very thick. This is a very thick book. What I mean by thick, there's a lot of heavy stuff in here. A lot of things that I read earlier, probably 2 or 3 years ago, and read right through it. But now when you go back to it, it's like, man, this is thick. What I mean by thick is it's philosophically thick. You got to wrap your head around some of this stuff, because it's like, oh, I never thought about it that way. I don't understand this, and I don't. I'll be straightforward. I don't understand it. They use a lot of different symbols here that I have no idea what they mean. And like this was what we were talking about just a while ago. This was the courtyard. Let's see if I can get it the right place. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but it's the courtyard of the temple, type of thing. And it's
very much like Angkor Wat.
Yeah.
There's an outer wall, an inner wall, an innermost wall, for the different levels of existence. So in Angkor Wat, you've got the outermost wall, can be compared to the galaxy. The one less than that would be the solar system. The inner wall would be the planet Earth, and then you have the temple sitting in the middle of the Earth. As if it's the old Discworld idea on the back of 4 elephants, but that's just a symbolic representation of reality as seen by angels symbolically. It's a symbolic representation, and you don't need to understand angel writing or the Hebrew alphabet. You only need to know that the Hebrew alphabet has 22 letters, and they are the 22 paths on the tree of life between these 10 points.
Correct.
So the basic philosophy gives you 22 paths or ideas that we now fill out according to our nature. and our disposition toward angel nature. So Kabbalah is invented to record our nature as we reach toward our angel divine nature. It's nothing but an education, but of course it's heavily veiled and it's a bit ancient now, so it's difficult to relate to. And science still hasn't accepted the tree of life as a philosophy for
Oh, they have
reality.
not.
No, because it's about, they'll tell you, well, if you want that, you have to go to the philosophy class. It doesn't belong in a physics class. See,
Is that
even though,
that just their
even though
excuse, or that's the truth? And they're
it has nothing to do with experimentation as such. It's more of a philosophical, intellectual pursuit and understanding. It's something you might use in mathematics when you're theorizing about patterns, but when you write things down, you're going to do it algebraically.
okay. Okay.
Or using trigonometry or complex numbers or something, in the usual way we do. But yeah, Kabbalah is pure logic as well. It's basically the pure logic of zero dimension. That's what is difficult to grasp, because if you haven't experienced zero dimension or your own nature, then you won't know what it's referring to sometimes, because it's written by angels who have seen a movie and experienced something that nobody else has.
Right.
So they're trying to record the logic behind it so that you can follow them and find yourself in the same boat,
Yeah, I had something here I wanted to point out to you because I wanted to ask, and I thought I had it just a second ago, and then I lost it in this particular book. This book is not that long. It's just basically about 100 pages. And this was, there are two things here. It's kind of this to do with Kabbalah, and actually you have on this particular deal here the colors. Do the colors represent certain things here?
They're always used in that way. I mean, sometimes you just use color to visually distinguish between different areas.
Okay, and
Where,
then you're on
so
the other
they,
side. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
that's right. I'm just to say that you can use colors to distinguish between things, for a quick visual reference, or you can use colors that are meaningful. And in the esoteric sense, the colors are going to be meaningful, so you can see yellow, blue, and red there at the top. But it's below the sort of crown, as it were. So it's the physical nature that's referring to. When you start delineating the tree of life like that and calling the Sephirot various things like wisdom and understanding, you are now applying that principle to the human being, the human body. See, at the top is your head, effectively, and you have the three points together there become the Trinity. When you become an angel, you see, you can apply it to a person and an angel, and it has various associations accordingly. So in Enoch, for instance, he talks about going to the 10 heavens, but the 10 heavens are the Sephirot. So what he's saying is, he's become an angel, and all the application of the 10 Sephirot to his being are all going to be divine. Therefore, he is talking about 10 divine heavens, but he's just relaying that he's become an angel. Yeah, and they use the foundational principle of ascension to relate to all the Sephirot now in angel terms.
Right.
Just like all four centers of your body become influenced by the Son of God when you become an angel as well. So that it covers the lower mind and it overpowers the lower mind, as we saw with the breastplate on the priest earlier, the 12 jewels on the breastplate.
Right. And then someone on the opposite page here, it shows kind of a deal like this, and different colors naturally, and again.
Yeah, that refers now to the 4 elements. So it's using the basic pattern to refer to from earth, water, air, and fire.
Right.
Which relate. So you can break it down in fractal terms. You see, so you can apply the whole tree, which is just the 10 points to your body, and then you can apply 4 of the trees. You can break it down and make 4 trees and have that for each of your bodily centers and apply it
Right. That's what I
accordingly.
understood somewhat what I've
So,
read. Yeah.
yeah, so the whole tree of life can be applied to just your head. So it's a basic
Oh,
archetypal pattern that you can apply in various ways. So you can apply it just to your head or equally to all 4 body centers and look at the various aspects of that body center. So your sensual nature will have 10 different sort of ideas associated with it accordingly. Likewise, your emotional content will have 10 ideas you can ascribe to those sephirot. Likewise with your head. I mean, Carl Jung did it with the head.
right.
You know, the anima, the animus, the mother-father principle, the child principle, the fool, the the master. These kinds of things are embodied in the Tree of Life for Carl Jung. He used it to encapsulate the idea of your psyche.
So, in some ways, I'm just going to ask this if you mentioned Carl Jung, which I don't think he ever became an angel or anything of that nature.
No, no, no.
Did he ever understand even somewhat of the Kabbalah in some ways or not?
He did. He had mystical training, that's for sure. He knew a lot about it. But even if you're trained, it doesn't mean you're going to become an angel. You know,
Right.
that there's you have to push the idea of truth to become an angel. You really need to want it more than anything else. You know,
Yeah, he would have.
just being interested in intellectual pursuits isn't enough. You know,
Right.
your heart has to be in it.
Yeah, because simply is with what I understand simply is he was just interested into what I would call intellectual pursuit. He wanted to understand that, but he didn't understand what we call the true whole picture of no, there's much more to this than you're seeing. This is about you need to like taste and see what this is about. In other words, um, you need to apply it to yourself, not as an intellectual symposium, so to speak.
Yeah.
So how much knowledge I know or whatever. That goes off on a tangent, so to speak.
Yeah, that's keeping it at arm's length all the time. What
Right.
you must ingest it.
Right. And
It
that's
must
what
become a direct relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a Bible verse saying, "Taste and see that the Lord is good."
There you
And
go.
what I mean by that simply is, most people don't even taste it or don't understand it, so to speak. But the point simply is they don't take it internally. That is, they don't ingest it and understand simply is this is for me. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not for everybody out there. This is for my own salvation, my own purpose for me, not some intellectual assimilation and how much I know. That's not going to get it because that's it goes off tangent, type of thing. It's not
Yeah, you can go off in different directions with that.
right.
Yeah, I was
And you
also
can,
going to say, just to add to that, that the in the last few hundred years, don't forget that all these people are talking about these subjects without having anyone around them that's actually done it. So
right.
they might get it right, but it's just an intellectual pursuit. Unfortunately, there's been nobody to confirm it to them directly, as it were. You know, to finish off
Okay,
the
that's a good
picture.
question. Okay, so you, Phil, have done the work, but has there been other people in the past, as you can tell or can see anything in the past, and I'm just asking this simply to spurt that on me, that were an angel in another lifetime, so to speak, that is maybe 1,000 years ago or 500 years ago, was there anybody that you could tell that was pursuing that as not as intellectual knowledge, but for actually better to create heaven within themselves?
A lot of people have tried.
Okay.
They've tried. And if you have someone who's done it at a certain point and they come back, it's only for a certain reason. I mean, personally, I consider somebody famous, Bruce Lee, to have been someone who's done it in the past, but came back and had a very short life and not enough time to do it again. He might have got there had he lived longer.
Okay.
He might have done because he was that focused and serious about it. And it's quite rare that it turns out. It's actually quite rare
But
to
he
be
was
so
also
focused.
probably hated because of what he did too, wasn't it? Somewhat.
I don't. He's never been hated. You get people who are jealous, but most people loved him because he was a
Okay.
very easily likable person. But yeah, that's just an example of somebody who's so clever that you think, well, and you realize whether he died at 32. That's a bit young. It's not enough time.
No, because he hasn't really experienced, got even to what I call midlife. As you would say in the horizon. You haven't really even gotten to the mid part of your life, so to speak, or just about to that point. Thinking about it. We lived to be 60 or 70 years, and you're saying he passed away at 32 years old, and,
Yeah.
and he understood far more at that age than probably anybody that was living at that time.
Yeah, if you look at his focus, if you look at his movies, especially the Hollywood Enter the Dragon they made with him, the only Hollywood film he did, the focus you can see in his mentality, if you apply that to philosophy and thinking and wisdom, you're going to find the needle in the haystack. See, that kind of focus, I recognize that, and I kind of had it myself, and I used it. I realized I should use it instead of for violence and what have you. I can hone it and use it for information, and be ruthless in my gathering of information and how I deal with the information. Not ruthless with people, but ruthless with information, and make sure you're not fooled.
Correct. Ruthless means simply is that you look at things and say, "Duh, that's not going to go. That chunk that
Yeah,
this is
discerning,
valuable." Yeah.
discerning.
Right.
Yeah,
Discerning. Right. Yeah.
yeah, very, very harshly discerning as well. Yeah.
So So a lot of times, simply, I get confused with these particular Jewish words and what they mean, um, and I actually have a hard time even pronouncing them. And I don't know. I'm going to say this. I could go to Wikipedia or whatever and look these words up, and they would probably give me the answer. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, what does this symbol here is revealing?
Well, the rings,
Yes.
the rings you're talking about there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. There's 10 inside. So it's a bit like, it's just a sort of graphical way of encapsulating how you develop from, a kind of seedling in a way mentally as a person who's acquiring information to become an angel. You're going to acquire this and that, and you're going to develop, and it's going to expand a bit like a plant. Information expands like a plant, and so you go further and further out to the infinite, the periphery, where you touch your own ascension. It's just a graphical sort of metaphor.
Okay.
We use that a lot. I do that a lot as well in my graphics. So it's for the sake of quick accessibility, so that you don't have to read 5 pages of prose, just to sort of get a simple idea that can be conveyed in an image.
Ah. Okay.
So it's a very quick way of communicating an idea. So, and that one in particular, you can see it's just the pointed circle. It's like a squared circle, and it's just showing you your development over time towards your angel nature. And it basically tells you by doing that the content of angel nature. Because when you're an angel, you've done this, you've done that, you've done that, you've done this, and now this is all your content. As like a testimony to your being an angel. This is why I'm an angel. I've done this and this. I've proved myself to myself. I've proved that, my spiritual nature I recognize that as above my physical nature. So you stretch sometimes, A bit like, I'm reminded actually, have you ever done Sudoku?
Who?
Sudoku.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Here, I'll show you what it is. It's right here. Sudoku.
No, I don't know what that is. What is that?
Okay, it's just it's just a square. It
Okay.
it gives you some of the numbers in every there's nine rows, 9 columns, and 9 squares.
Okay.
In every single row exists the numbers from 1 to 9. Every row has all the numbers from 1 to 9 without repetitions. Every column also has all the numbers from 1 to 9 without repetitions. So when you arrange them, they have a specific position. Likewise, every single square only has the numbers from 1 to 9. So that this rule allows you to fill in all the blanks. See, and when you're
Okay.
doing
It's
that,
like a
you have,
puzzle.
it's a puzzle, it's a
Okay.
numerical
Can you bring
puzzle.
it a little bit
Yeah,
closer to the screen?
yeah.
Um, okay.
Is it back to
Okay.
front? It looks like a mirror image to me on the
Okay.
screen.
Okay. That's good. That's good. I want to get for the audience and for myself to see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
So you see this row in the middle? There
vaguely,
are two,
yeah.
there are two spaces here and two spaces, hang on, there are two spaces on either side. So whatever numbers are left over that don't appear, you can think about what they are and compare them with numbers above and below their position. So if there's a 5, I am missing a number 5 in this row.
Okay.
And I know that if there's a 5 there, I know damn well there's no 5 in that position there
Okay.
because there are no repetitions. So the 5 is either over here or in these two over here. And once you start doing that, you can cancel certain numbers and find out where numbers go. For example, if I know that a 5 and let's say a number 1 are definitely in these two squares, it means I know what two numbers are over here.
Okay.
You see, because if they're over here, if 1 and 5 are over here, 1 and 5 are not going to be here. And you'll have whatever numbers are left over. In this case, it's probably 8 and 9.
Okay.
But you
Now,
see, there's an 8 above here. So I know there's no 8 in that space. But I know these two spaces are already taken up with 1 and 5. So I know the 8 goes here. So I can put an 8 in there. And I also know, because that square is taken, the number 9 will go here. Even if I can't place the 1 and the 5, either way, whichever way they go around, I know what numbers go in here. So you can work out what things are supposed to be. This is the use of logic. I use this to exercise my mind in logic.
oh,
So
I've never
it's an
heard, I've never even
exercise.
heard of this. And I was going to ask you, what is the purpose of this? Because I'm like, are you just playing this before you said the answer? I was saying, are you just playing a game here of some type of
Yeah.
way? I didn't
It's
know
for
it was
mental.
actually to help you with your, to think logically, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, it's mental gymnastics. It keeps up your logic, sense of logic. It keeps it sharp and
Oh,
fresh.
I've never even heard of anything of this nature at all. Never.
Right, right. Well,
Is that some?
numerical puzzles are very, very useful for that. Very good. Yeah.
I didn't realize that, Phil. Really
Right.
didn't. I would have. I've never. Is that what is Sadaka? What does that mean?
It's Japanese.
Okay. Well, I thought it
I don't
might be
know.
Japanese, but I
I,
didn't know
I,
for sure. Go ahead.
right. I don't know what it means, but it's
Oh,
these 9 square puzzles. Yeah, they're always the same, but the numbers are always different. And you get less numbers to begin with, or more to make it harder or easier for you to fill out.
and it's
The
supposed
harder
to
it is,
basically mentally challenge you to do these things to, okay,
yeah,
and make you
it's a
mentally
mental
sharp.
challenge. Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
done this when you were a young child, or just something you picked up here lately?
Yeah, I did. I used to do magic tricks, like most kids get a kit to do magic tricks and stuff. Then I started getting into the idea of technicality and detail and specificity. So I got interested in mathematics, but my teenage years kind of got in the way, and I went a bit off, not off the rails, but I explored being a teenager, let's say. And when that was over, I got back into what I was originally interested in. So I went to university a bit late.
Right.
I was there when I was 23, not 18. I missed 5 years basically.
Right.
Yeah.
You being wild, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah. There are various reasons for that.
Right.
It's a
I don't
Catholic
mean it in a
upbringing.
bad way. I just meant you
No, no,
kind
no.
of.
No, no, I drank a lot. I went out drinking and partying and having a good time and getting into music and becoming a, drummer. I got into rock. I was in a rock band, etc., etc. I did all that sort of thing, to see if it went anywhere. It was just fun, basically. That's all. Anyway, yeah.
You tell me when you got to go, because I don't know what your
Mm,
schedule's like.
mm.
Because I know that you have a lot, you know, and you tell me if your voice gets really bad or whatever. I don't know. Um,
Right.
like for example, okay. Let me ask a question. Let's go back to the mystery schools. Were Jews involved? Was that this type of information, Kabbalah, was that talked about in the mystery schools? If you
Yeah,
know
it's
that,
the core. It's the core of the mystery schools. Yeah, it's just people think that Kabbalah comes from the 13th and 14th century in Spain because there's a recording of it there, and it's almost like there's no prior recording, but that's not true. That's bizarre. I don't understand why people don't understand that the first 5 books of Moses that comprise this beginning of the Old Testament, that is Kabbalah. That is the reception of the holy gnosis. That's
I
what
didn't
you're
know
being
that at
told.
all.
In
All right.
the first 5 books of the Bible is the reception of holy gnosis. Yeah. So it is Kabbalah already. And how old is it?
What, 4 or 5? Is it? Well, what, two? At
Five.
least two, three
It goes back to Babylon, so they knew it in Babylon. So it's 5,000 years in
thousand.
the
Okay,
West.
that's what I was going to guess. 4 or 5 thousand years.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's been known all that time. Yeah.
okay.
The
So,
Jew, you say were Jews involved. A
right.
Jew back in the old days, a Jew was just
I know
another
Jew was
word
initiative. It was
for a
one who would take.
teacher.
Okay.
It's another word for a teacher, basically. So rabbis are supposed to be roaming the planet, teaching their wisdom of metaphysics. They're basically the modern day druids,
So the
rabbis,
Druids
Jewish.
are connected with this somewhat too.
Say again?
The Druids are connected in some ways also.
Yeah, they're the old priests of the Western Europe, druids. It's
Okay.
just a priesthood from Western Europe.
So were
They
they
weren't
connected
more.
with mystery schools themselves?
Yeah. There were mystery school students, initiates who
I
became
didn't know
masters.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Hermes Trismegistus is effectively like a druid tradition, but it went to Greece, it went to the Middle East. It's
Right.
gone all around the
But I thought it
world.
was from I thought it was from the Middle East, but you saying it came from Druid areas, which would be what, Scotland?
Well, I don't know about the history. You see, that's the thing. One of the oldest documents we've got is the Enuma Elish and the Epic of Gilgamesh. The stuff from Babylon and Sumer in the Middle East. So we think that civilization started there, and all the ideas come from there in the first place. But
Right,
we
we've been
don't
told
know.
that.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't actually understand our own history, going back a long way. But how come, if we're supposed to understand history, how come we don't understand the Great Pyramid in general to this day? But it was built in the past. Surely we should understand everything about it, and there should be no question left because it's already been done and done by ancestors who would have passed on their knowledge. But in today's world, knowledge is power. So you have to keep knowledge to yourself to
Correct.
maintain power. Therefore, people are left kind of ignorant, and there's the problem. People are left bereft of the information they need to become angels. And that is the problem
That
in my
is the
mind.
problem. That is the problem because simply those who know this keep it from everybody else.
Yeah, and they're not that good at it either. I've encountered many of them over the last few years online. Some pretty highfalutin people who are full of their own opinions. They've got high positions in some society somewhere, and they talk to me like I don't matter, and they know everything, and maybe I'm just some prat over there that they can forget. I've had a few run-ins with these people over the years, on Facebook especially. So I came off Facebook because it was wasting my time.
So they
So
appear, they become very arrogant.
there is an arrogance, unfortunately. Some of them are very nice, but the nice ones tend not to comment on Facebook. So you
Oh,
only ever tend to deal with the nasty ones, or the arrogant types, because they're the ones who want to make comments online all the time and
to quote
influence
unquote,
others.
to impress other people as though they have a lot of
Yeah,
knowledge. Yeah.
yeah. That's right. Yeah, which is
Being
silly.
arrogant.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask. This is all in Jewish, I guess, and so I don't understand it, but maybe you understand it in some way.
Hebrew.
Hebrew, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. That's you can you see? I don't know whether that's obvious, but I can see the sort of cow. It's almost like drawing a cow's head.
Yeah, it
In
is. I
some
didn't realize that when
circle.
you just said that the head part looks like the head right in the middle. Is that
Yeah, I
right?
mean it. Yeah, I mean those kind of drawings, as I mentioned, are just sort of recordings of ideas. They're not very important. They're just sort of recordings of ideas of this kind of material. But it's the sort of thing. It's like a doodle. If an angel went out and had a notebook and they were doodling, they might doodle some
Right.
symbol. Because that's what that's how that strikes me. It's not that important. People take things so seriously as
Okay.
well when they don't know. They take things too seriously, like a zealot. You can get
Okay.
zealot. People who are never religious all of a sudden becoming zealots overnight. It's a psychological thing. That. But anyway, those kind of drawings are not very important. Um, People take them far too seriously. They're basically doodles.
Okay. So like
You
someone
know.
just doodling out out there, out in the woods and whatever, and just doodling something and come up with
Effectively,
something.
yeah. Yeah, okay, so it
Okay.
means something, but it's just an expression of what you've already read in the text. You see what I mean? It's already there, so it's just another way of doing it. I mean, I do lots of graphics naturally because graphical communication is something that I naturally adhere to. It's a quick way of communicating with people.
Now I would think this has something pretty important to say here, if I can show you correctly.
Yeah, that's like showing you the entirety of reality in one picture. That's what that is. Because you've got the menorah, and above it, right on top of it, you've got the Star of David, which is the unification of spirit and energy, which is the Son of God. And above that, you've got his name, look, in a circle, Yod-He Vav-He, is the name of the cloud. Yes, they represent the four elements as well as one, as a unit. Can you see that? So the menorah is where it comes from. It's below it, so it comes from the menorah of the seven aspects, the seven kingdoms.
Well,
But if we go back down to God in the original, there's seven spirits of God. But then we have manifestations, so we have seven kingdoms and seven hermetic principles.
so that okay. So the going back to the star Israelis, like
Star of David. Yeah,
yeah, Star of David. There's
yeah,
seven there, right? It has six independent, what I would call triangles,
yeah.
and then it has the whole triangle being the seven. Is that correct?
Well, you can say the central point is the seventh point, and it's like the menorah below it. So the central point is the one that lights the other six.
Okay, okay,
You know,
okay.
they are of and from each other.
And the other part, so when we see this thing with a hand, so to speak here,
Hmm.
that kind of makes me think that's either Arabic or Indian.
It's very much like that, isn't it? Yeah, because
Yeah.
your hand is one of the extensions, and it refers to your entire being in one go. Like your feet, a portion of your feet relates to your liver, your heart, your
What we
kidneys,
call
your
pressure
brain.
points. Uh,
Exactly, yeah. The nerve, it's from the nervous system.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I can't read that specifically. You'd have
No,
to
I
look
know you
up
can't. I
the.
just was kind of showing the audience here what I have in this
Mm,
particular book. I've
mm,
actually, when I was on there yesterday, I actually gave people the ability to actually go read the book online
yeah.
if you want to read it because they don't have to pay for it. But there are a lot of, like this here, I could have, this is, I don't know if you can even see the color here. I guess let me get some light in it. It's just beyond me there. I don't, it's a beautiful picture, but what does it mean here and there? Um,
Is
so
that that's the first word of Genesis on your left in the center?
this one here, is that what you're referring to? Or are you talking about the
Yeah,
other
can
one?
you raise it up a little? Raise it
Yeah,
higher?
sorry.
But shit, yeah, it is. It's the first word of Genesis. So it's the first 6 letters of Genesis that, and you've got images concerning the book of Genesis around it. See, it's Brasit in Hebrew. Brasit. That's the first word of Genesis.
I I wouldn't even know, but I appreciate you sharing that. Rasit, Brasit,
Bra, Bra, as in Brahman or
Brahman,
Abraham.
Brahman.
Abraham, yeah.
So what does Brahman mean?
Brahman is the Indian traditional word referring to the cloud. Brahman is
Oh,
the cloud. Yeah, in
okay,
all of its natures, whether it's spiritual or physical, it's just the cloud, Brahman.
right.
Yeah, Abraham is a name that comes from it as well. It's the same principle. It's a
Because he
principle of
actually
life.
experienced the cloud.
Yeah, Abraham, the father of the Jews, as it were, is really the cloud, but people don't know that. They think it's some bloke, again, who walked around in history, when really it's a way of referring to how the cloud is the creator, and it creates something that's imperfect. So the story shows you that you need God to make it perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's all
What is
about,
that word you guys? I think it's so funny. Some broke. How do you say that? Bloke.
what's that? Bloke. A
Yeah.
bloke. Bloke,
Okay.
some bloke from history. Some bloke over there.
I
Yeah.
think it's funny when you guys use that word, like some bloke over here, and I'm like, "What are you guys talking about, man?" Like it's almost like some idiot over here. I would think the word
Mm.
idiot would come with bloke,
Yeah,
whatever how
because
you pronounce it.
it yeah,
Pardon me.
'cause it's a little derogatory. It's just sort of nothing term, like you're nothing, you're just a thing over there. Yeah, just another person. Yeah.
Uh, what would you think is the most important parts of wait a minute, what is, let me ask you this one here to deal with this particular symbol.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like a candle of some type.
Kind of. It's you. It's you. It's Adam Kadmon effectively. So you've got Yod Hey Vav Hey written as if it's a person. So they've written the letters above each other, so that it looks like a person standing there. So it represents Adam Kadmon or an angel. That I could represent myself as that. You see what I mean?
Okay.
So you say here is an angel. Here's one way of representing an angel. They're anointed with Yod Hey Vav Hey. So they become Yod Hey Vav Hey.
And what does that word mean?
Yod means God. Hey, it's the Hebrew letters. Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. You can translate them in various ways. It's the four-letter name of God.
Okay.
In fact, they refer to the four elements that make up the cloud. So they refer to the cloud. The cloud is called Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey, or Jehovah. You'd say
Jehovah.
Jehovah.
Okay.
See, that's where the Jehovah's Witnesses get their idea from.
Right.
As if they're all anointed. They've all
Right.
witnessed Jehovah
Right.
when they haven't actually. But
Um, did he just like we were talking about this long ago? I remember you said it when he put this book together. When he was talking about this author, you said basically the guy, I guess the editor or whatever, put all these, you know, uh, art pieces or whatever in this
mm,
particular book, as though there was a place
mm,
for it to be used for space, as you would say. I think that's what
mm,
you were saying one time to me. I
mm,
might be wrong about that. That's just what pops in my head. Um,
yeah,
as I was reading it, could I ask you? Well, I got other questions. Could the word the same author writes a book on the psychology and Kabbalah? Is that a book worthy of reading?
Yeah, because I've watched you read out the first two episodes that you've done on that, and
Right.
everything you say I recognize, so that the person writing it knows what he's talking about, even though he's not experienced it. You can certainly get good at it in a second-hand sense, because it makes sense anyway. Once you grasp, the ballpark it's in, you can certainly start to grasp it intellectually, as I did, as many people do. I mean, it's basically logical anyway. Once you get past all this symbolism, and you know what it's referring to, it's like, oh, it kind of simplifies it, like that page that looked quite
I
elaborate with
found
all
it.
those.
Sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
no. Like the page that looks elaborate with those drawings and the circles with just the first word of Genesis written in there, because the first word of Genesis effectively tells you everything about creation in one go.
When it's the same author. So I saw this. I said, well, let me see if this guy has done another book or something like that.
Mm,
And so I happened, and I couldn't when I down. See, I mean, I told you about my issue by reading here. My eyes are not what they used to be. I can't see as clearly.
mm,
So I download the book, that is, this book, onto the internet so I could read it. Well, the first copy I got was so poorly done, color. It was also somewhat crooked, like. I'm like, okay, there's got to be a better copy. So I looked and looked, and I found another copy. And so that was what I was reading out yesterday, because I finally found a decent copy that I could read.
mm,
Well, I already before that was started the day before that reading from psychology and Kabbalah. I said, well, let's see if this guy's wrote another book. And that's what I did. And I found it and downloaded it again. And it was a lot easier to see and read. So I said, oh, just read this book. This is very pertinent. And obviously, Sacred Geometry is another book that's put out by Thames and Hudson also, which I'm going to either download it if I can find it, or either buy the book, because I think it's important also to study that
mm,
also. Um,
mm.
but I know I've gone all over the place today. I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
No, it's fine.
I just. And this whole thing here, this goes back. Let's ask this. This was to do with Elijah, wasn't it? The whole idea of the four wheels and all that, which is
Right.
all
It's heavily
the
symbolic.
elements. Is that to do with
Yeah,
elements also?
it's just the cloud, but it's very, very symbolically told. So he's incorporating everything about existence into a description of a cloud that is the creator of that existence. That's why it's all like that, because he creates everything. Therefore, everything about everything is going to be associated with him in the most succinct form.
So obviously, someone of intelligence was able to do this artwork.
Mm,
I don't know who did it. It may say down here at the bottom, I don't know, or where he ever got this thing at. But obviously, it might have been a Jewish artist or something of that nature in the book. Um,
It's
so,
pretty traditional stuff. I mean, it's in the Book of Revelation as well. What you're holding up there, that's
okay.
what's described in Revelation.
So what is? I was reading yesterday also about Adam Catmull, and I did not. Sorry, I didn't know that. I mean, I've heard the name before. I had no idea. And I was reading the book yesterday talking about Adam Catmull. I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't know this. I never even knew this. And maybe I'm wrong here, so correct me. It was as though it was another particular Adam. Is that somewhat right?
No, it's the same thing. Adam Kadmon is Adam from Adam and Eve, but when you say Adam Kadmon, what you're saying is metaphysics, because in metaphysics at zero you have the abyss, you have the cloud, and you have a risen angel. The risen angel with the cloud are compared with your heart and your head of your physical being. So here is a being who is metaphysics. and
Oh,
his name we're going to use as Adam Kadmon. He is the being. We are all expressions of Adam Kadmon, so he's the creator in these terms. It's just a way of identifying, well, here's the creative principle in metaphysics, and we're going to give him a name and personify him and talk about him in the book of Genesis as Adam, the original man. They just haven't used the expression Adam Kadmon in the book of Genesis. That's all.
right, right, right.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same.
I always learn something new from you. I think I discovered something, and I'm like, nothing bad about it, but it's just like, wow, it's like a new phenomenon. It's like, wow,
Mm,
I never heard it that way. Even though people refer to Adam Catman in the past in some books or whatever, and I'm like, what are they talking about?
yeah.
But I never really spurred on to look into that area. I thought, well, okay, that must be some guys, someone coming up with an image of what man is supposed to be, or
Mm.
that's why we have Adam. But what does Catman mean? What does that word mean, so to speak? Because that's not a word you hear today at all.
No, it's a Jewish word. Hang on, I'm going to specifically look it up. Kadmon, wait. It means the highest or most exalted of the 5 worlds is called Adam Kadmon. Adam means in the likeness of, or in the image of, from the Hebrew word dome. Kadmon means primordial or primary, from the Hebrew root kadam. So it means primordial man, primordial image, which is the cloud of heaven, effectively. So Adam Kadmon is the metaphysical being who is the cloud, effectively. Yeah, he is metaphysics itself, the root of the cosmos. Yeah.
I just so I don't know if I would have never knew that. I just didn't.
Wow. Right.
Now I know something more about it. So um, I have not looked at more about who this guy is who wrote this book and the other book. I don't know if he's wrote
Mm.
another book or whatever.
Mm.
I'm just kind of curious about that also. Um, there, I guess this is another little symbol here at the corner here, this way here, not that one. Let me see if I can get down. Up here, can
Oh,
you
down
see
there.
that?
It's Yod He Vav He again. See, in the 10 positions, there are 10 points inside that triangle, written up with the 4 letters. So it's a way of showing you graphically how the 4 elements relate to the 10 points on the tree of life, and how that is metaphysical because they're contained in a triangle. And then there are 3 circles to represent the 3 aspects of spirit.
Spirit.
There are
Okay.
3 aspects of spirit. So the triangle is basically the creative principle in those terms, in that sense. And the 3 circles are the 3 aspects of spirit that encapsulate him, that he relates to all 3, the 1, 0, and the infinity. He's the Alpha and the Omega. That basically says he's the Alpha and the Omega.
So all these are Jewish letters also inside
Yeah.
the circle.
Yeah.
Also, the smallest circle, there are 3 at each particular point of the triangle. Which at this point, I don't know what those letters mean, but that would have a representation also in here, correct?
Yeah, can you show it again? Because they might be the 3, what they call mother letters.
Well, the worst one at the top looks like an N, like a Nancy. Let's see if I can get it back up here without my fingers in the way. Can you see it?
Aleph. It is. It's the 3, what they call the 3 mother letters: Aleph, Mem, and Shin.
Okay, when you say mother letters,
Mother letters.
letters, um,
We'd
they
have
would
to
be
go into
probably
the
pretty
Hebrew
much in
alphabet.
every particular word or every sentence of Hebrew,
Well, mother gives birth to life,
right?
so they are key letters. For instance, the Aleph is the alpha, as it were, the very first letter. Yeah, so it's associated with the crown or the creator. And then on the left there, lower down, you have the Shin, which is 3 prongs sticking up. That's
Right.
the Hebrew letter S, which means crown.
So it
See,
means
and
crown
mem,
also.
crown. Yeah,
Crown.
shin means crown or teeth, but in this case it's referring to the crown.
Okay.
Yeah, which is the Son of God. And on the right you have the letter mem, which is M, which means water, which refers to truth.
So what was the first one you told me what it was?
Aleph, A, is the very first letter. That's the cycle point that represents the Son of God, the position of the cloud, the metaphysics of the cloud, as the Alpha and the Omega. And of course, it's the first letter, so it's Alpha in Greek. On the
Okay.
left,
Right.
lower down, on the other triangle point, you have S, meaning crown. And on the right, you have Mem, meaning water, which refers to truth. So all three letters there are directly associated with the Son of God.
So no one who'd ever, quote unquote, let me just say this pretty clear. No one would recognize this at all except someone who's actually ascended. They would never know.
Well, you recognize it when you're ascended, but you probably would have been exposed to it before your ascension, like I was, anyway, because it's so directly associated with ascension and angelic nature. So you recognize it anyway, because you start to realize, how people in the past have recorded these things. You start to recognize the symbolism behind stuff. So you would recognize it, but if you're learned and versed in these things, you'll recognize them anyway because you get used to them.
So how old are these letters?
The Hebrew letters,
Yes, Hebrew letters.
we don't know. I mean, apparently the Hebrew alphabet originates from the Babylonians. If you look at some of their handwriting symbols, it looks like old handwriting versions of the Hebrew alphabet, which became formalized. There's a formal version of the alphabet for mystery schools and the handwritten version for everyday people.
Okay.
So that's why there's probably a discrepancy, and people wonder what the discrepancy is, and how the original language doesn't look like the formalization anymore. So the formalization is the one that's encoding all the information. But it's like a bit like shorthand and
Right.
normal
Right.
writing. You can
Right.
write shorthand and somebody else won't understand what you've scribbled.
Right. In
Yeah,
fact,
but
when they do long ago, not that long ago, but you used to have people in the Senate of the United States would do shorthand because they would be talking so quickly they would write shorthand in order to get the logistic of what was being said down before they went back to either doing it in English or whatever. But people knew shorthand long ago. There were people who I still think they probably still do that maybe today. I don't know, but we're talking less than 50 years ago maybe that they were still doing shorthand. They were still doing shorthand into the Senate building or the House building, writing down these stuff because they knew what they were doing quickly. They couldn't write those words as quickly as someone speaking. That's
that's right.
Same thing when I was in college. We, I wrote all the words down as best I could as I copied, whatever the professor was saying. I just keep going all over the place on my composition book, such and such. And that's before, we had a computer, so to speak, which in my opinion, the hand would be quicker, in my opinion, to the computer with a typewriter. But then I didn't take anything to do with typing because I didn't think it would be any important in school. I thought that's the way that's not the way of the future. That will be gone long. I just thought that in the late 70s. It's a bad thinking, but anyway. And so what I did was just write these letters down, and a lot of this is in cursive writing, not in print, such and such, but in cursive writing, and because it was the quickest way I could write down the gist of what the professor was saying. And I'm sure that's something what you maybe did. I don't know.
In mathematics, you do some shorthand as well. Yeah, a little
Right.
bit. Yeah, not much, but a little bit.
All right.
Just to shorten the expressions.
I don't want to keep you. I know your voice is, I appreciate you being here very much.
I'll go in a couple of minutes if that's okay.
Sure. One other thing simply is this one, the symbol here, which is a big symbol right across from the priest. is this representing some type of thing to do with a temple of the body or something of that nature, or is it similar to what we were looking at in a different way with
It
the?
looks like an ornamentation. I can't quite see what's inside, to be honest. I can see a sort of variation on the Star of David where they're not quite. Oh, okay. The Star of David there is shown in the diamond form. You see, it makes a diamond in the center.
Right.
So that's just another way of showing it. It's just another way of drawing it. It means the same thing. It's the Star of David, basically.
Okay.
In there, I can't quite make out what that is. I'm not familiar with that.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like a six. It looks like a hexagon, so it's cubic. Oh, well, that's a way of looking at the Merkaba and the famous Kala lily that they associate with, because the shape of this mathematical principle they arrived at years ago.
So this is
looks
the very
looks like
bottom.
that. That's like the that's like looking at creation. That the cubic
Okay.
nature.
Can't hardly hold it up for that. Tell
Because
Scott we can't even hold it up. Go ahead.
yeah, that's great. The cube, people often think the cube is evil and refer to Saturn and the color black
Yes. Yes,
and
the
this
black
sort of
cube.
thing. Yeah,
The
that's a
whole thing
misunderstanding.
with the Jews have the cube on their
That's
forehead,
right.
and then the cube in
That's right.
the Islam faith, they
Yeah.
have a cube that goes around. They all these people go
Mecca.
around it in Saudi
Mecca is
Arabia.
Mecca is a
Sorry.
cube. Yeah, the Jews wear the cube over the third eye at the forehead. Yeah, because the cube represents the cloud of heaven or the anointing you receive.
All these
The,
symbols that they have, almost 99% of the people, if not more, have no inkling of what it means.
yeah, that's
Am I
right. So they
correct?
think, yeah, they jump. Some people get suspicious and jump to evil explanations, as if the cube is evil when it just represents the cloud of heaven, an anointing, an angel nature. Of course,
I think
there's a
they get confused with what I would call it being a square and it's black.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
black kind of symbolizes evil or darkness, so to speak.
But
Um,
it symbolizes the abyss in this case, not evil. But you know, there's an interpretation that the creative principle is evil because it creates nothing but physical systems which are not spiritual in nature. But it's just a way of looking at things. It's just saying, look, physical nature is inadequate in relation to spiritual nature. That's
so it's
all.
not evil. It's just you're in a vessel that's useful, but
Yeah,
you made a term. You made it evil,
yeah.
your connotation or meaning of it, and so
That's right.
you darken it, so to speak. I
That's right.
guess.
That's right. Which is not. Yeah,
True.
objectivity is not evil. Yeah, it's just a teaching method, a
Yeah.
tool. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, your
saying a
volume is
teacher.
going back down again for some reason. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I don't know why.
Um,
I'm talking right into the mic.
I
So
noticed that you have a microphone right there, right?
yeah,
Okay, it's right
yeah.
right below you, right there. Yeah, that's what I thought. I think, why is it
Right in
so
front of
low?
me.
I just
Right there.
now when we've done other broadcasts, have you always been using that mic, or you been using
Yes,
just your computer?
it's the same microphone.
Same
Yeah,
microphone. Okay, that's
yeah,
that don't. I need to ask them why that is because when I used StreamYard,
yeah.
yeah, I never had any problem with your volume.
Right. It was always loud. I'm at full volume, by the way, on this side.
Yeah,
Full volume.
I'm getting you at like 4 or 5 bars.
Right. That's pretty good.
No, that's
Okay.
pretty poor.
Oh, really? Oh,
See, when I talk, I go almost to the width of it. There, it becomes yellow, and yours is just at a small part of 3 or 4 bars, little small little
oh,
squares. That's where your volume is.
right. Okay. If you can't turn me up, then I can't turn me up either.
I'll have to ask them that because when you just now let me
Okay.
ask something. Move back away. See what happens. Now talk.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me? It's the same at this distance? Or is it
It's
quieter?
weaker.
It is weaker.
Right there is stronger. Right there
Oh,
for some reason. So I don't know if it's a certain array of the microphone.
I don't know. I don't know.
It is better there.
Right.
When you get
Strange.
closer, it seems it muffs it.
Oh, okay. How odd.
I don't know. I'm looking at the bars here. That's all I'm looking. But I know it's much lower than when we do, I did recordings with StreamYard. But the reason why I left StreamYard was that they gone up to the point of being
Yeah.
each month $45.
Mm.
Okay, and this service here is per month. Now you can get it cheaper per yearly, but I don't want to pay. I don't know, what's going to happen in the future. So it's $27 or $28 a month to do this. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and my feeling simply is, do I want to put out $400 or whatever it costs? Let's say it was $25 times 12. You're talking about over $300 and pay it up front. Well,
Yeah.
what if I'm can't broadcast 1 month or whatever, or I can't do it anymore, whatever, something happens, da 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 da. Then I've thrown away money. You see, that's what I'm saying. So I'd rather pay it by month, even though I'm paying. And if when you do pay it by yearly, it's basically averaged about $24. You see.
Right.
But it does have some good qualities of this. Such and such. I have not. There have been people here. They're not. I'm not showing them in here, but they're showing that there's 2 people been listening, or 3 or 4 people been listening, constantly while we've been talking here. It's not you, it's someone else. Now, I don't know how this works. This is all new to me because I don't see anybody's name. All I see is a number. That's all I see.
Right. Yeah.
And
You have to get used to it.
yeah, and the other thing simply is that when I broadcast on StreamYard, it would actually simultaneously broadcast on YouTube and also on Facebook.
Mm.
Okay, this one doesn't do that. It does it on YouTube, and then what I do is, record it,
Link it.
and then I link it to Facebook
Yeah.
afterwards. So
Yeah.
that's the drawback. But again, this is all new to me. I've done this with you before. We did this with a couple of times, probably 3 or 4. Well, actually, back in May, I tried it, but I can't afford to throw $45 or such and such amount of money. When I do a lot of broadcasts myself, that is talking and reading from a book, it doesn't make sense. And that's $500 a year. That's a lot of money.
It is. Yeah.
And they decided to do this on the spur of the moment. And it's like, okay, we're going through economic tough times in this country. We are. And everything is going up, and your price went up exponentially. I mean, it almost doubled.
Oh my
It was from
gosh.
$25 a month to $45 a month.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, we're giving you such and such. And I'm like, you're not giving. I don't care about the whistles and the bells and all that stuff. I just care about simply being able to communicate. So, but anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. Okay.
I'm going to go.
I just gotta go. I know you gotta go. I just want to tell you, I appreciate your time. I know
Thanks,
I
man.
get asked. I know I asked maybe. I seem very clumsy today. Part of it
That's
simply
right.
is
You
I
seem-
don't
that's
know.
right.
I don't know anything about the subject of Kabbalah. I don't. I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
It takes time. It takes time.
I feel lost.
It's all metaphysics, and how creation comes from metaphysics, and how the shapes are reflections of each other. That's effectively what it's on about most of the time.
So, would you highly recommend to people to read the books by this particular author?
Yeah, especially that book Kabbalah and the Sacred Geometry by Thames and Hudson as well. Both of them together, they work together very, very well, and they fill you in beautifully. Especially the Sacred Geometry one. You'll understand more in the Kabbalah when you read the Sacred Geometry. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to add. I was going to say simply is once I finish reading this particular book online, I will read Sacred Geometry because that's the one you recommended to me.
Very good. Very good.
I don't understand it. I've looked at it already because it's a lot to do with mathematics.
But it's pure philosophy. It's just backed up by the mathematics for the logic.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all. But well worth it.
Well, I really do appreciate you, Phil. I think
Thanks,
a lot
I
about you,
appreciate
man.
you.
I really do. I get bummed when I don't get a chance to talk to you. I actually get disappointed because I'm always looking forward to talking to you.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I wish I had more time, and that things didn't get in the way so much.
Well, have you pretty much? I want to ask a quick question. You got the house the way you want it now, or you got to do some
Yeah,
more things?
yeah, no, I finished the garden, basically, everything's
So
done.
what's in the garden? You planted some peach trees. You said one time.
I just don't know if you can see it. There you go, that's the garden. Can you see it? Yeah, kind of.
I see
So
something big green, something like something in the middle there. Is that of a plant?
there's a concrete path running, curving through the middle, and you've got a
Okay.
long flower bed on one side and another long one on the other side, but a sort of wave pattern, and then a couple of sheds down the bottom surrounded by evergreens.
Okay.
Yeah, very simple, but it took a lot of work because there
So
was
when you say
nothing there.
garden, you mean are you speaking simply it being like growing plants like beans and corn or something of that nature, or is it something else?
I've got a blueberry bush. We've got some gooseberries. We've got a pear tree, an apple tree, a plum tree, an apricot tree, and some red and black currants. So
Oh,
we grow sort of fruits basically, but it's
right.
left over from the people before. No vegetable. We've got some parsley and basic herbs growing in a pot, in a trough
Okay.
as well that we use every day. But
Is
apart
the
from that,
soil rich there?
no, it wasn't. I had to enrich it. Yeah,
Wow.
that's what wore me out so much. I had to
That's
dig it
that's
in.
hard work.
It is, yeah, 2 feet into the ground because people had buried bricks in the ground from previous years, and all sorts of waste materials that I had to get rid of first. So it took a lot of effort. Anyway, yeah.
So this area where you're at, it looks like it's a sun area in the house.
Where the back of the house is north facing, so the sun is at the front. So that the garden gets it sort of, when the sun gets some height.
I guess what I'm looking at is your ceiling there behind you. It looks like it's white looking. So I thought maybe.
No, it's transparent. It's transparent.
Okay, that's what I thought. It seemed very much like the sun could come through there. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's like a
Was
sort of perspex window.
Yeah, was that something that was there originally, or you guys put that
Yeah,
in?
no. It was here when we moved in. This is
Wow,
what this.
that's very special there. I like
It's
that.
nice. It's a nice little room.
It is. I can see
Yeah,
why you would want to record in there. It's really nice,
yeah, yeah.
spectacular.
It's pleasant.
Yeah, because it's just light. It brings light into, and light
Mm,
itself, is energy, itself.
mm.
So you know that. So, but anyway,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're okay. You're able to speak,
Thanks.
and I appreciate you very much, Phil. Thank you for taking your
Thanks.
time out with me today.
That's all right. Thank you for asking, Brent. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll continue to read. I try to
Okay.
learn some things here, but
Right.
you know, like I said, you mean a lot to me. You mean a lot to me.
Thank
What
you.
you
All right.
really do. I don't
Thank
understand a
you.
lot of things you share. I
Right.
try to understand, but I know you try to make it basic to me, but symbologies, symbols, and everything of that nature. But I'm
Mm.
trying to understand more and more. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's at the beginning. It is. Yeah, you get there. You realise you start to see repetitions. Yeah, and it becomes quite simple. After a while.
So I wish you a good day, and
Thanks. You too.
okay, and hope you feel better, Phil. Very good.
I'm nearly over it. I just had a little cold for a few days. That's all.
Okay.
But I was off. I was off work anyway, so I was able to recover nicely. So I'm all right.
Well,
Yeah.
think pineapples in the future when you have issues with your coughing and stuff like that, because pineapples
Okay.
help you with your sore throat and stuff like that. It really is good for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Maybe you
Thanks.
grow pineapples in the back of your yard one day sometime. So hopefully. Anyway, I'm
We'll
just
see.
picking on. All right. You have a good day, Phil.
Take care. You
Thank you
too.
very
Thanks,
much.
man. My
Okay.
pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Bye bye. So that is Phil Langdon today discussing the title of this particular book I was sharing with you is Kabbalah or Kabbalah. Um, I will put this on my YouTube channel, which is already being live here, Discerning What Is True on YouTube. I also will put it on my Facebook page, the recording of it, which some of the questions asked. Again, this is a very good book to get. I've actually gave the information on my Facebook page, which is simply Brant Hunt. You can go to Facebook, and I gave you a reference to where you can actually read this book online. Okay. Also, the book Psychology and Kabbalah is the same thing. It's just simply called, a site here in America is called www.welib. I'm trying to think if it's .com. I don't think it's .com. It's something else. Whatever the other words they use. Let me see what quick here. Org. I think it's org is what it is. As I type it in here. Yeah, it's www.welib.org is what it is. And you can look for this particular book, Kabbalah, Tradition of Hidden Knowledge. You can search it. It's free of charge. It doesn't cost you anything. And then you can download it. If you don't want to download it, you can actually just read it on that particular site. The same thing with psychology and Kabbalah is the same thing. You can do the same thing. It's there. It doesn't cost you anything. It's absolutely free. You can't ask for anything better. If those don't have a lot of money, it's advantageous. As long as you got a computer, you can read this. Okay. I think I need to stop at this point. So let's see. We'll stop, and hopefully we'll see Phil in the next future in their section. All right. Thank you for being here. And again, I've got to figure out other things, what to do, how to find out how to find people here who came here, whatever, so we can maybe ask questions such and such. That's just all new to me here, but I changed the services simply because it cost far more money. It was over $45 a month compared to this being $28, and they were $25 early in the year, and they just raised the price astronomically. And I can't afford to keep throwing money out like that in a lot of ways, so especially in what's happening here in America. All right, have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.